right, part two. Okay, for those who don't know, we just tried to go live and we were doing all this talking and we weren't even live streaming yet. But basically, I'm Toomey, best friend Eric.
What's up? What's up?
We're here to talk to you about all the hits and misses of today. And like I said before, when no one was listening besides us, like there were so many hits. There's so many hits today. Like, I mean, the game is still kind of rolling out. Like that Rams Buffalo game, like it was. Today was one of the best. Today was one of the best fantasy weeks of all time. I can easily say that it was one of the best fantasy weeks of all time. There were multiple people who, if you maybe feel like you got done up by the Thursday games, there was a lot of people who could have had your back. The Juwan Jennings, the Jordan Addisons, the Josh Allens, the Josh Allen. Like this, it was phenomenal, man. What was your biggest takeaway this week so far?
Just speaking to how great a week it was fantasy football wise, but then we got to take into account these are players you likely don't play week to week as we just have a whole lot of teams on bye. So we had performances like this that nobody anticipated that more than likely, given the limited spread of players available, you probably got to benefit at so many of the great performances from players that you never really lean on that much. So it's really a joy to see that work in your favor.
It was phenomenal. I don't think we could start anywhere else because the game just clicked off, and I mean they lost, but I mean, damn. The score that I have on the screen is incorrect. He actually ended up getting a 50 burger. He got 51.88 fantasy points. He scored another rushing touchdown. So he had 3 in the air, 3 on the ground. Josh Allen we're talking about. Just ridiculous. Like they made a game that they were looking like they were about to get blown out, but they made that game close. And him and Puka battling on both sides of it. If anyone faced anyone who has Josh Allen and Puka Nacua, I apologize now. Hopefully you didn't need this week. But like this, it was an unfair matchup. Unfair. Like I'm playing Puka Nacua in this one league. I'm actually winning, which is crazy. Oh no, I'm playing Josh Allen, but I have Puka Nacua in this one. I think it's in the one league we have. Yeah. I have Puka, so I was able to counterbalance him. So I still have the lead and I still have a quarterback to play. But that's
luckily, there is no exposure here. I don't have Puka, nor am I going against Josh Allen. I am going against Shakir, but a player who's had probably his best year at his position from performance base is I got Kittle. Kittle been going crazy as well. Had 151 yards today, so that helps in my favor for sure. So, of course, everyone in some capacity, you more than likely had a number of players who went off for you. Juwan Jennings, of course. You probably don't play him week to week, but you were glad you did this week. As well as he did, this ain't even his best game of the season. I guess he's got 2 to 3 ridiculous performances that he can go ahead and give you. One of them was certainly today. As you can see with Kittle, that doesn't even include a touchdown. That's 151 yards. He caught every ball thrown his way and put up 21.1. Juwan with 7 of 8 catches, 2 tutties, and a 90-yard to go with it. So that's an amazing performance from the 49ers skill players.
100%. Just saying what's up to TikTok. Somebody asked a question, Dowdle or D-Hop? I'm personally going to be going Dowdle. I think that his touches are a little safer. And PPR is very close, so I'm still going to go Dowdle. I like both, though. What do you think about that?
Yeah, the volume play for Rico, I mean, for sure. You know he's going to get the ball. You could see a game where Hopkins goes off if he happens to get 2 multiple touchdowns on limited yards, I would see. Or he'd have a lot of yards but no touchdown. That type of game has a smaller likelihood than Dowdle's opportunity. So I would lean on Dowdle.
100%. Cincinnati has still been bad against the run over the last few weeks, and I think that there's no reason why the Dallas Cowboys won't continue to feed Dowdle like they've been. All right. One quick thing, so we just kind of breezed through a lot of the stuff. All right, so Josh Allen, obviously he's QB1. Let's just set that aside. Khalil Shakir, last week was one of his 2 weeks where he was under 10 PPR points. He doesn't give you 20 burgers like this typically, but he's mad consistent. And so whenever anyone has a question about someone or Khalil Shakir, that someone has to have crazy upside to me for me to start them over Khalil Shakir. He is like the definition of a rock solid, like low-end wide receiver too. If you just need somebody who's not going to murder you, take Khalil Shakir. But if you need upside, that's where you play the Marvin Harrison Jr.'s and stuff like that for like potential upside, but they may kill you too, like the Jordan Addison. He'll give you 30, then he'll give you like 5. But Khalil Shakir, I'm giving you 11, 12, 13 every week. Gave us 20 today.
I'll take that kind of player. Those are great stabilizer players. I mean, if you can just count on them and you can put the points there at a minimum and it's double digits, I think it's very much so worth it. And then the occasional bust game, boom game like this, that's everything.
100%. So we got some questions coming in about Sunday Night Football. We're going to answer some of those. I'm not sure if we know anything about Lab McConkey yet. Have you heard any news?
I haven't. Do a little quick research here.
Just looking. I'm assuming, he's a game time decision, but game time's coming. So, like, what's up?
Precisely.
Inactive. So he's officially inactive. All right. So because of that, Robert, I see your question. Will Disley or Quentin Johnson? I take Deshaun and Quentin Johnson. Will Disley is safer, but I think to me it's one of those things again, like Will Disley, if you need 9 points, I think he's going to get you 9 points, no lag. But anything else, if you need a little bit more upside, if you just face one of these juggernauts today, I'm gonna go with QJ. I think there's a better opportunity for him to give you phenomenally larger amounts of points.
Yeah, and because Ladd isn't there, this is a Quentin Johnson step-up game. You can see they've been getting the ball to him more so throughout the entire year. This is what you would consider an opportunity for him to take advantage of if he wants to excel in his position going forward. This could be a defining game for him. He needs to step up to the plate, take advantage of that.
It could be defining in many ways for him.
Yeah.
He needs to make it a good defining game because somebody
exactly.
said,
it can go left as well as right.
And last thing, because we're kind of breezing through, there's so many hits, guys. We got to really crank through them quickly today. Juwan Jennings, must start, guaranteed if Brock Purdy is healthy. I think some people kind of got it twisted the last 2 weeks. He's the number one receiver. That's not George Kittle, right? Juwan Jennings is the guy that Brock Purdy is looking for on the intermediate and the short passes. Deebo Samuel is just not it, guys. It's just not the case. And the last 2 weeks have just been really unique. 2 weeks ago, they got blown the hell out by the I think it was the Packers or the Bills. It was the Bills. And that was in the snow game no. It was 2 weeks ago they got blown out by the Packers. That was with Brandon Allen. Last week they got blown out by the Bills. That was in a crazy snow game and Brock Purdy's first game back off of a throwing shoulder injury. Those two things, you really could just chuck those 2 games aside for the receivers. George Kittle had 1 catch or something crazy. If Brock Purdy is healthy, which he looked healthier today, and he got a little dinged up, but he came back the next play, so he's going to be good to go. You lock these 2 in your lineup, especially if Garendo's going to be hurt.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get to negatives. I promise you. And I know we're gonna get to your Panthers guy.
Oh yeah. Let me go in.
But yeah, we'll get there because let's just go there now. Because then I need to talk about some of these backup running backs after that.
Understood. Yep. If you know me, you know that I'm a Panther fan, right? We were playing the Eagles, very good team. They were so confident that the Eagles would beat us. There's a story out there that somebody put $3.1 million that the Eagles would win, and it would net them about $440K. I wanted that person to lose.
Not worth it. Also, sorry.
Oh yeah. I mean,
that's cool. Not if anyone, and I'm not a sharp, but I definitely was I took the points on that game. I said, yeah, I'm taking the Panthers on those points. I felt like they could actually cover the spread there because I'm also one of those guys who will probably cover the spread if it's 13 or something crazy like that. I'm just always going to take those points just because of probability. But Bryce Young's been playing very well, and he made a game-winning throw.
Yeah, he did.
But my man on the screen here just kind of struggled. Yeah.
Xavier Legette, I guarantee the person who won that money, you his favorite player, Xavier Legette, because you can't catch. This man can go outside with no jacket. He can't catch a cold. So there you go. He don't need that. That's the benefit of catching the way that he does. This would have been so much of a morale boost for the Panthers if he'd have caught that ball. Come on, man. What if everybody went to their job and they did his job as a pass-catching wide receiver the way he do and don't catch the ball? You just don't do your job. We would stop functioning. Yeah. You don't got the luxury of going to your job and not being able to perform like he must do in the game. If it's too big for you, go home, sit on the sofa. You got much smaller things you can deal with there. You ain't got to deal with the big lights all in your face no more. That's crazy. All we needed is this man to make 1 catch. He's wide open. He robbed me of the opportunity to talk trash at work tomorrow. Yeah. I work in the Philadelphia area and I wanted to talk some trash. Yeah. He cost you.
He did cost you that. And I mean, that is a concern from him. It's funny, these 2 people on the screen. So we have AJ Brown, who also had a dud, and Xavier Legette. The AJ Brown one for fantasy purposes really hurt people more, but obviously I understand the personal venom in this situation.
Oh, yeah.
But
AJ
it's
Brown
funny.
he didn't play well either.
But like when in the pre-draft process, I was like, there is a world where you could refine this guy's talent, and he could play stylistically like AJ Brown. Body type, speed, all of that is the same. AJ Brown is way more physical after the catch. This guy definitely needs to build some of that up. And like he's a rookie. I'll give him some leeway. Like Bryce Young was a rookie last year. He was trash. He's looking a lot better now. Xavier Legette could still turn into something, but that is just one of those plays where he's gonna really wish he had that back. You got to be able to you had the game in your hands. Yeah. That's a big win on the road, bro.
Yeah. Now we got to look at that game and say we played well. Everything looks like it's on the up and up. But the confidence that it would have instilled in Bryce Young had the man came down with that ball and we beat the Eagles, that would have been like the turning point going into next year, kind of defining moment for us. But now all we got to do is stick around and say, man, even though we lost, everything looked good. Huh?
Yep. They fought hard and all that shit.
I don't want to rest on that.
Oh my gosh, man. That's tough, bro. But let's hop back to where are we at? Where are these guys?
Positives.
Let's talk about some of these hits, because like the most amount of questions I got this week were on these guys. It was Zach Charbonnet's, Isaac Guerendo's, Braylon Allen, Sincere McCormick. A lot of questions about these guys. I feel like based on my advice, I steered you in the generally right direction. I did have Guerendo over Charbonnet, so clearly that wasn't the mistake, or clearly that wasn't the best call. But if you started Guerendo, you shouldn't be like he scored 2 touchdowns. You'll be
exactly.
All right. Let's start with the guy at the top. Like, we need to have a discussion about this guy just being better than Kenneth Walker. Like, what are we doing now? Because he's already getting the third down stuff. He was getting the third down stuff with Kenneth Walker. 7 of 7 for 59 yards, but 22 for 134 and 2 touchdowns. This is not an easy run defense right now. They're not like some juggernauts or anything. They don't have like an intense amount of talent, but this is an easy team to run against. So I was thinking like, man, this is just gonna be a tough matchup for Kenneth Walker. And again, he's splitting with Charbonnet, so I get that this kind of splits them down the middle. But like, you give Charbonnet the workhorse like load, and he's already the better pass catcher. This was what I was thinking heading into last year, that Charbonnet should come in and really challenge him on third downs, but also on first and second down. That's why I was like, man, Kenneth Walker is going to be a tough road for you. And so maybe I was just a year ahead in that prediction. But I do think, like, I don't understand how Ryan Grubbs, if Kenneth Walker's healthy, could just say, you know what, Charbonnet, you go back to getting 35% of the snaps. Like, no, bro, like, absolutely not. Get this man the rock. Like, Kenneth Walker has been out. I think he missed 2 games earlier in the season. He was a top 7 or a top 10 running back both of those weeks in PPR. Again, he's likely going to be RB1 this week. What are we talking about? Like, just like, he gives you the best chance to win in football and in fantasy. This is a juggernaut player as long as Kenneth Walker's out. So I mean, he is a slam dunk, probably top 10 guy if Kenneth Walker misses any more games.
I would say for sure. He definitely looks good enough where he can at least get the argument to be worked in like they do Jahmyr Gibbs and other homeboy Sonic and Knuckles over there in the Lions. Yeah, the way that David Montgomery, no disrespect, the way that this dude is able to carry the rock when he has the opportunity, like you said, he doesn't miss. All those opportunities, he's not like Xavier Legette. He doesn't drop the ball. He sits there and he runs through these tackles. He gets 100+ yards and he gets touchdowns. He's there to produce for his team. You understand me? We got players on my favorite team that I wish to see this example and can instill that in their approach to the game. That's off to Zach Charbonnet.
So everything we say, you're gonna bring it back to Xavier Legette.
I mean, if the example's there, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and put the example. Xavier Legette needs some guidance. I want to provide that in this here show today, because we need that. Had he had the proper guidance, he could have guided his hands in the path of the ball and caught it, and we beat the Philadelphia Eagles today. He needs that kind of guidance. He
does, because also, I mean, 7 of 7, he ain't dropping his passes. So
exactly.
All right, but then Guerendo, man, this sucks so bad. Like, so for those who don't know, he left the game. I don't think he came back. But he was balling, bro. Like the Chicago, the matchup was great. The matchup was set up for him, and he is the type of player who, to me, I really synonymize him stylistically with like Jonathan Taylor. Not as good, but he actually, I didn't know he was a former Wisconsin back, fastest running back in the draft this year. Apparently, I think this was his second or third game starting in like since college. Like he didn't start at Louisville, which is so wild to me. But he has that burst. He's not the shiftiest dude, but like he's decent through contact, decent hands, like 2 of 2 for 50. He had that big catch, which is not easy for a running back to do. And he's a bigger player as well. If he is healthy, this is league winning. Like this is league winning potential right here. If he has the rest of the year to like kind of get it together. But if he is not healthy, that really is going to suck. Patrick Taylor is a fine pickup. We'll talk about him when we talk about the waiver pickups, but it is a far, far, far drop off from Isaac Guerendo getting this workhorse workload.
Yeah, it just goes to prove the 49ers running back, I don't care what the name is on the jersey, they produce. And this guy clearly has a skill set to jump in there and continue to produce. So you do hope he's okay. And even to the light that you said, this is what his second or third start since college. It just, the moment wasn't too big for him. The lights weren't too bright. Mm-hmm. He was able to perform.
Okay. That's just all this innuendo you have. All right. All right, a couple TikTok questions real quick. All right, so somebody says, Keith said, Keyshawn Vaughn is the waiver wire pickup if you're playing 4D chess with these 9 running backs. We'll see. I mean, we're going to have to look at other options if we don't have Guerendo for a while. I'm not sure how hurt he is. Somebody was asking that. And then somebody said down 60 with Burrow, Chase, Chargers kicker, and Ferguson. I like your chances, honestly. Like, I don't hate that because if you got 20-20, and that's, I mean, I know it's easy to just give somebody 20, but if you get 20 and 20, at least probably hopefully 25 plus from Burrow, that puts you at 45. You just need 15 points between Ferguson and your kicker. And I think Dicker the kicker could do that today. So I'm actually like your chances a pretty decent amount.
They said Jamar Chase. You aren't out until the game is over that Jamar Chase plays in.
If he sips the water that everybody, if that Puka Nacua and Josh Allen and all them are sipping this week, you know Jamar Chase, this is his signature. He's the one who does that. So like, you better just hope you got one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine you got Puka and Josh Allen and still lose. That's tough.
Yeah. That could be an epic game. I would not count yourself out. I'm gonna be honest.
100%. I because that little Homer Simpson or it was a Simpsons cast they're gonna be doing. Like I'm here for it. And the last player here, before we move on from these running backs, Braylon Allen. So I'm glad I helped at least temper expectations for him. Solid. I'll take 12 points. Like, I mean, shit, Brees has not been giving us that consistently. So we'll take the 12. The thing with him that was unfortunate, I don't have the snap split, but he was splitting rather like close to even with Isaiah Davis.
Yep.
Isaiah Davis showed a lot of burst. I mean, they both had over 10 carries. Isaiah Davis was 4 yards per carry. I think Braylon Allen was probably close to 4 yards per carry. I think literally a slight under 4 yards a carry. Isaiah Davis had a touchdown. He had 3 of 6 receiving. Braylon Allen had 4 or 5 receiving. So, I mean, it was really like split down the middle. But if you were the ones who were like banking on a Braylon Allen, like being the workhorse backup of like, this is like the handcuff to own, probably a little disappointed in that. I do think Isaiah Davis is an interesting pickup as we move forward, though.
Yeah. I'm on the disappointment side of that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Braylon was going to be the workhorse.
That's the thing. It was a tough matchup. So Miami's been really good on the ground over the last couple of weeks. And so I wasn't super excited about it, but I was just thinking if they're going to give him the ball, that's great. They also, honestly, they don't run this often. Like they ran over 20 times. They typically don't do that. Like they don't carry the ball that much. They typically are one of the most pass heavy teams, and they still were, but they typically don't stick to the run game. But they get Jacksonville next week. Like if there's no Brees, which is very possible because they lost again. Like I personally, if I'm a Jets like ownership, Brees, we're good on you. Like I would shut him down. If that is the case, I think it's worth investing again in Braylon. And there may be some people. I don't think anyone's going to drop him, but I'd be willing to start him next week versus Jacksonville.
Yeah, if that opportunity is there, this could be a strategic move for those in your leagues because they might, honestly, they might possibly shut down Brees. And the manager for Brees is possibly unaware of this.
Yeah. That'd be crazy if they're unaware, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. They better be paying attention. This is nuts. But yeah, we're going to continue to talk about these players. There's a lot more. I want to talk about Sincere McCormick, but let's just have a word from our sponsor real quick.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's the Podfather, and last year's fastest growing fantasy platform is back. It's Smash Up Fantasy. They've got these leagues where you redraft your team every week and you get smarter as the season progresses. Now, Smash Up also has a patented power-up card. These are actual cards that can boost your individual players or your entire team. So if you think Lamar Jackson's going to run wild all over the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1, play the Scramble Spikes Smash Up card to turbocharge his rushing points. And that's not all. Smash Up also is introducing the world's first single-player fantasy game. Think Street Fighter meets fantasy football, where you can go toe-to-toe versus an increasingly difficult fantasy football boss and qualify for the postseason Tournament of Champions. So test your skills against me, the Podfather, and the Player Profiler team today at smashupsports.com and use code PlayerProfiler. The code is Player Profiler to get special perks like extra lineups for these weekly tournaments and so much more. And it's all free at smashupsports.com.
Make sure you guys hop on that. That is a super, super, super cool app. Before talking about Sincere McCormick, I got a question from TikTok here. Can you see the Chargers upset? Only lost by 1 TD last game. Might have made adjustments. I hear the sentiment about the Chargers, and we'll find out soon. But to me, the Chargers were so reliant on 2 players, and they will not have either one of those players today. J.K. Dobbins, the second he left, the run game has fallen apart, and that team is so reliant on the run game being efficient. That is a big factor. And I believe last week, Ladd McConkey, I don't – maybe I have the stat wrong, but I believe he had 75% of the receiving yards for the Chargers last week. They are very reliant on Ladd McConkey winning intermediate and in the middle. They're very reliant on an effective run game in J.K. Dobbins. You have neither one of those. And they don't seem interested in giving Vidal a lot of work. Haskins is kind of like a plotter, even though he's a third down guy. Gus Edwards is just – he is the lowest – or the least amount of missed tackles in the NFL. He just gets hit and goes down. It's just an inefficient run game versus the Chiefs, who have not – like the Chiefs have actually been complete garbage like from a pass defense standpoint recently, but their run defense is like rock solid. And especially if you don't have Ladd McConkey, it just makes like McDuffie's night a lot easier because now you got to shadow QJ. You know what I mean? And so it is not the game. Like if you had JK and Ladd McConkey, I'd 100% almost make it like a 50-50 shot. Because I don't think the Chiefs are going to only lose one game this year. But because you're missing those critical pieces, and I just haven't seen it, and it also gave up a crazy amount of pressure to the Falcons, who I know did a lot better today getting pressure too, and Darnold, maybe they're just improving. But still the Falcons, they still kind of suck getting pressure. And so I just worry about the Chargers. This could be a potential get-right game for the pass rush for the Chiefs, who truly, again, have been completely terrible from a pass rush standpoint. And so I just see there's a lot of reasons why the Chiefs could definitely take it without even needing to play their best. So that was just a lot of ranting to say I don't think they're going to win.
Yeah. They don't have the pistons of the offense. Yep. People you just mentioned, point blank.
That's what it is. And you know what? So the way you just said that in like 3 seconds, I could have just said that. could have just cut all that yapping. Could have just said it, but I didn't. Sincere McCormick, we're going to talk about him with waivers, but played well today as well. Decent yards per carry versus a Tampa Bay run defense that is not easy over the last couple of weeks. And so that is a guy we'll touch on more in a minute. Pause. So I was like, just power through it. Don't say pause, man. Just power through it. Don't say it because you're not 5. But I couldn't. All right. So Rams receivers. Man, bro. Nacua. He did everything. Like he was rushing the ball for a touchdown, 12 of 14 for 162, and he still got hurt in the middle of the game. It was like, bro, it's every single time. Because since you said it like a couple of weeks ago. It's like, bro, this man will produce so much production, and then like every single game will just be on the bench with like a wrap on his leg or something. Just like something's gonna happen. He's gonna catch the ball and land in the wrong way and just like get hurt. It's just he gave you the full experience of Puka. Yeah.
They call it, you got the full Puka Nacua experience for sure. He produced. He had you have a heart-stopping moment or two, and he came back in the game and continued to produce. I think what happened in this game is people were drafting Nacua ahead of Kupp. These are the indications and the kind of games I guess these folks were anticipating. They just are starting to occur a lot now. As you can see, he got 14 targets to Cup's 8. So it seems like the radar of how to read a play is the first read is now Puka, then Cup. It's not like Cup has fallen off the radar, as I mentioned earlier, but he's definitely not the first read, it appears, given the amount of targets and opportunity and volume and play design for Puka. The guy's got the talent. He did that toe drag swag very nice in the game as well. So he's got the talent. He can get it done. He just could be a tinge bit more durable, and you would have yourself a solid one right
here. I had him as a top 3 receiver this week, and I've been ranking them Puka over Cup for like a couple of weeks now. It's very clear, like if they're both healthy, Puka's getting the ball more. We see it in the stats. We've seen it pretty much every week. It's all about Puka being healthy. That is the concern. And then he gave us a scare. We'll have to watch the injury report just to make sure, but he did come back and then score a receiving touchdown to like seal the game. So it's definitely something like it's just at this point, so you just ride or die with that, man. But you really pray that you continue to get games like this as we head into the fantasy playoffs. In the performance like this, if you have Puka Nacua, this kind of like guaranteed your slot in the playoffs. And that's funny. It's like we're just talking about we're not even talking about Cup like he's a scrub, but he gave us 20 points today. You know what I mean? 5 of 8, 92 yards and a touchdown. But he was again, like you said, very much the secondary option in the passing game to Puka.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, we're being too nice. Being too nice. Let's hop into this. Let's hop into this right here. That's right here. Whew. All right. I have no sympathy for anyone who started DK Metcalf. Not a little bit. Not even like not an ounce. Not a drop. Not a drop. Because especially if you people are listening on TikTok, you're listening on YouTube, we go live before the games. We do start sits. DK Metcalf has made it very clear, and now the trends are so clear. This man, outside of today, he actually boosted it up. He averaged 30 yards receiving a game against the Cardinals in his career in 10 games. Now 11 is going to be a little higher than 30, but it's probably going to be 30-something now. He sucks against them. He always sucks against them. If he did anything even above this, it would have been very surprising for how bad he is against them. He also we can now put it to rest. He is the number 2 receiver in this offense. It's consistent. Like JSN's the guy. Whenever they play tough defenses, especially if they have like a tough one-on-one corner, he just can't shake them. Like I don't know if it's like he's just one of those big, strong, fast guys who's more straight line, and you just can't. He doesn't have the agility to shake somebody, but he just can't do it. If he has a tough corner matchup, he will suck. So whenever you see DK, I gotta say, there's certain players who I don't have sympathy for because the matchups are very clear. Kirk Cousins against a lot of pressure, don't start him. If you started Kirk Cousins today, kind of on you. DK Metcalf, when he plays the Cardinals, never start him. And if he's playing a tough corner, do not start that man. He is clearly not it in this offense. The offense, we heard Ryan Grubb's scheme, runs through the slot, and we see it now. JSN is the best slot receiver right now in the NFL. He is producing that way. And I just think that we got to I don't have it. If you started DK Metcalf, I had to start him in a 16-team league, so I'll deal with the fact that he gave me 8-point-something points. I'm glad. I'm actually happy with that. But no sympathy for that at all. None.
Yeah, nothing to add there.
Just being
just completely honest. That is the truth about him.
I don't got it, bro.
Yeah.
And Marvin
Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
He's probably, I guess, a floor play at this point. He doesn't have the consistency of producing. You can see he's got 8 targets. For someone who's supposed to step into a role as the lead receiver on his team, that isn't enough. And so if they aren't designing plays for him at this point where you think things should have clicked, he has enough time getting out there with the Cardinals, understanding how Kyler Murray moves, understanding what he should be able to do well given their play assortment. It's not really happening for him. They don't have any way where they can lean on him and say he's going to be productive. The only player in that offense that I think really knows their role as a skill player, of course, is John Connor, who they gave the extension to recently, and McBride, who paces the offense. There's a lot of opportunity for Marvin Harrison Jr. to step into being another dimension that team can take advantage of and have the skills to actually execute on. But that player himself is not doing it. You have to go ahead and agree with what you're seeing. In some weeks it clicks, most it doesn't, and that's a cost to you going forward in the fantasy.
Real quick, before we continue, got a hot question here about like who do you pick up if you're missing Lad? I think the first, obviously, if QJ is available, you pick him up. If not, Brandon Cooks would be my next priority if you need somebody like right now. Josh Palmer would then be my next one, but I do worry about him in the passing game. And then if you're looking for a flyer of somebody who's available, Noah Gray is a flyer. If you want to take that, that's not a bad option. But you really can get hoed out by that if Travis Kelce has a decent day. And then Will Dissly. I think he's actually like a safe bet to give you 9 to 10 points. And so those would be kind of the priority pickups. If you literally like got to pick somebody up within like the next 5 minutes, that's what I would do.
Yeah. All right. But condolences. That's a major fall off from Lad.
Yeah. And I again, I'm not going to be mean. And I know this is a bad situation for a lot of people. I told everyone, we've all been telling everyone contingency plans. Lad McConkey has a shoulder injury and a knee sprain. We've known this all week. The coach said it would be like kind of a uphill battle for him to go. And so again, I mean, not trying to be rude or anything, but like you got to, this is the type of thing, like that's why you tune in. It's not just for us, our betterment. Like you tune in before the games to hear me say, hey, if you're thinking about Juwan Jennings or Lad McConkey, even if I happen to have Lad McConkey ranked higher, I will start Jennings because I know he's playing. Yep. That's the type of advice we would have given you prior to the game. Now, some of the picks would have been terrible. Like I would have told you like to start like I think Ridley didn't do well. I would have told you to start him, but that may have not been great. But at least you would have had points. And so that's what I want to make sure you guys like. We're not just saying this for fun. Make sure you guys are locked in. Follow on YouTube. Make sure you guys are following on TikTok. Follow our personal TikToks. You can find that in the YouTube address like Eric P. Football as well as FF Strategist on TikTok. It's right there on the screen. I don't know what I'm acting like. Like, yeah, make sure you guys give us a follow because this is what we do. This is what happens, man.
He knows his stuff.
I do know my stuff. It's not a lie. Real quick, I really did the light skin thumbs up happen again?
It
did. Like, for those who don't know, I don't get this. It doesn't work for me. Eric, go ahead and give it a shot. Give a thumbs up. If that bubble hops up, you motherfucker. Yo, StreamYard, you gotta tune that up, man. I don't know so this color situation, color gradient. All right. Anyway, moving on. Kirk Cousins. Very similar, like I just said with DK. I have no sympathy for people who started him, but I told everyone, do not start Kirk Cousins. I don't care if it's a revenge game. They started out playing significantly better than I thought they would, but at the end of the day, it's just that matchup is terrible for him. If Kirk Cousins is facing a team who's really good at getting pressure, Denver Broncos, Chargers last week, Vikings this week, you don't play him. So for a future notice, you honestly shouldn't be probably playing him anyway. But like you should not be playing Kirk Cousins under high pressure situations. And if you want to know if he's under a high pressure situation heading into the week, make sure you follow him because you'll hear about it multiple times throughout the week. If he's going to be facing a team who's like really heavy blitz rate, stuff like that.
For sure. And you're starting to hear people say Michael Penix's name. So whenever you start hearing that and you follow up with a performance like this, don't put too many eggs in the Cousins basket.
Yeah. But I mean, his teammates did great though. Like I got to give credit where credit is due. One thing that I could finally have my mea culpa on. So there were 3 people who were getting a lot of hype for who should be the number 1 player in fantasy and who should definitely be the RB1. Everyone knows that. No, I'm not gonna stress it. I'm not gonna spike the football. CMC clearly shouldn't have been the one, and I was saying that a lot, and I said it was only because of injury. That clearly that's bared itself out to be correct. Yeah. Put that aside. I was a heavy Breece Hall guy, right? Breece Hall was my RB1. I was wrong. Bijan clearly is the RB1 because we've seen it in matchups that are like Minnesota is a tough matchup, bro. Yeah. Minnesota on the ground is not easy. And he is producing every single week when they give him the work, no matter who it is. The talent is clearly the best he's not better than CMC, but he's just on the field. And I'd say his talent is better than Breece's. Like he is a better running back down and down out than Breece. He also gives you a lot in the receiving game. in this scheme, they just don't target the running backs like that. But he can do it. Like, he was the clear choice to me for like the RB1 at the draft. Like, there's been other players who've been better. But he is consistent, and he's consistently just like very casually just giving you 20 points every week. So I gotta give props where props is due. Like, it was a Bijan or Brees question I was asking a lot. I was Brees. I was clearly wrong. It should have been Bijan.
Yeah, when you said pound for pound, it makes me think of boxing where they have the different weight classes. You can dominate your class, but as far as the overall, when you say pound for pound, best boxer, or in our case, best running back, Bijan can do it all. The man catches, he runs well, has great vision, great speed. The guy can juke you out of the room. So he's got that. He should be a very, very top tier pick for like at least the next 5 years. Like, the dude is 100%. He's nice.
He is nice. Another question before the game starts. So flex, Pacheco, Hopkins, or QJ. For me, if it is like standard or half PPR, it's easily Pacheco over the other two. If it's full PPR, I'm still going to go with D-Hop, slightly over Pacheco, both of them over QJ, me personally. All right. Appreciate the follows, guys.
That is tough. I would go with that as well. I think it kind of varies depending on what are you really looking for. Do you need like a massive amount of points? Because you can see a lot of targets going to Quinn Johnson. He might get a really deep touchdown as well as some other passing yards that build on top of that. Pacheco might be he'll manage the game, but he'll get much more opportunity, which could lead to a touchdown goal line type of a rush. But I think the safest one, if you really want to lean on the points being there and not just depending on a, blast game like he's doing really well, like a firecracker game from QJ, I would go with Pacheco, and then the mid-tier would be Hopkins between the two, like you mentioned.
I hear you. Because even like last week, so he was just coming back off of a broken leg, which is nuts. He salted that game away, and he had like a big 34-yard run. So I feel comfortable with Pacheco. But again, if it's full PPR, it probably depends on what you need. But like I said, I feel safe with both of those options today, honestly.
Precisely.
All right, we're heading through this. I think we're getting through all the big, massive producers. So Rachaad White had a great game today. 17 carries for 90 yards. And you may be asking, why the hell did he get 17 carries? It's because what's his name? Bucky Irving. I want to say Bruce Irving. That was the season. But Bucky Irving injured his back early in the game and went out. Don't know the severity of the injury. Hopefully it's not too serious, but it's very disappointing because this was another game where he could have like lit it up. Yeah. I do think just because how much they utilize their running backs, especially in the passing game, it does make things rather easy. Like, if there's no Bucky Irving, Rachaad White's easily a top like 17 running back. But if Bucky Irving is there, it's going to make things kind of muddled again. But if Bucky Irving is healthy, I'm starting Bucky Irving. If he's not healthy, then I think Rachaad White is a very fine start. Let's just take a look. I don't know who they play next week. They play the Chargers, which is not easy. But I still think that he'll be able to do fine against the Chargers if Bucky Irving doesn't play.
Got it.
Yep. And then let's just touch on these guys real quick. It's funny even putting Brock Bowers up here, honestly. 8.2 points from a tight end is not really that bad, but it's bad for him. Like, it's bad for him, even though he broke Sam Laporta's receptions record today. That is a disappointing game for Brock Bowers. 8.2 fantasy points. You're not doing anything about this. You're not changing anything. He's still the tight end one. So you just kind of like suck it up and then start him again next week. And they play the Falcons. So I'll happily do that. And speaking of the Falcons, it's funny, like putting him on the misses implies that somebody relied on Kyle Pitts, which I don't think anyone does anymore. 1 of 5 receptions for 14 yards. This also was a good matchup for tight ends. The Minnesota Vikings, it actually was a decent matchup for tight ends. And the coach had made it very clear. I actually took a prop of like 10 yards, which I think I hit. But very clear that they were going to get him the ball. No, I didn't hit it because I took receptions. I definitely had over 1. So I missed that one. But they were going to get him the ball. So they clearly tried. And I haven't watched the tape or anything. But until I watch the tape, I can't really say this. But man, is he like is he an actual bust now? Like in the NFL?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he is Kyle. What could have been Pitts?
What could have been Pitts? Yeah,
absolutely.
That's sad, bro. That's early too. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, No one should put their faith in this guy going forward. You've seen what you need to see for several seasons. He pulled the massive okey doke by having a really good rookie season, always maintaining the argument that I can build off of that. Don't put yourself in that position no more.
100%. 100%. So, and I don't have a screen for it today for like my picks this week, but I'm getting a lot of heat for picking the Green Bay
of course
to beat the Lions. I guess I don't know. I feel like people forget like that game came down to like Dan Campbell going for it on a 4th and short in his own zone, like near his 20. Yep. And I mean, it is not ridiculous to have seen the Packers win the game. I actually took the Packers on the points everywhere I could, and that clearly, like they lost by 3, not 3.5, and so I won those. But yeah, I don't think that was actually even a bad pick. Just because you get a pick wrong doesn't actually make it a bad pick if the logic is there. And then all these Buffalo Bills people, where the hell are y'all at? Because I picked y'all this week. All the the Bills fans, y'all always on me. Y'all always on me. The Bills Mafia is silent today. I was just like, the Bills Mafia is dealing with the Rico or something because they're like quiet.
Exactly.
This is crickets. Bills. Oh my god, this girl Karma Lou said they're crying right now. that was a tough one. It wasn't really a tough one. You guys it was going to be a stretch for them to win the game, but they came really close, so I could see how this is disappointing.
Yes, Josh Allen and the Bills fought back.
They did. They definitely did. Oh my gosh, because this was at the bottom of the screen. Didn't even get to touch on this. Miami, that game was crazy. That was a really fun game. Literally every fantasy asset did well. Tua, Achane, Jonnu Smith stretched you out. He had 0 catches in regulation, but he you could even see he was so frustrated. Like, bro, what is up? Like, he's a good player in this offense. He got it together, but it was nice to see old school game. Devonta Adams went for 25 plus. Tyreek Hill went for 28. Waddle went for 21. This is what we wanted the whole season. Why are we at week 14 and we're getting this?
Yeah, a Waddle sighting. You love to see it. This is what you knew he had in him. He got 12 targets, 12 opportunities. This is significantly different from what he'd been doing the whole season. They was throwing a Waddle like he was me. He just wasn't out there to really be effective in any capacity. I don't know what the world was happening earlier.
That's wild. That's wild. All right. Let's hop into injuries really quick. I don't even know why we do this, just because I don't have any information. I'm just going to touch on some of the injuries that happened. But Derek Carr broke his hand, non-throwing hand in a real stupid play. So unnecessary. It was the most I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That was a dumbass play. Don't know what to say about it other than that. They're in a situation where we're about to see a lot of backups to a lot of positions. I would worry about Kamara because I could see Kendrick Miller starting to get more work there too. Jonathan Brooks, that is disappointing.
Very.
Do you have any thoughts on that one? Did you see that one?
Yeah, he was doing some kind of a jump cut while he was getting the ball handed off to him. He wasn't contacted, and they call it a no contact injury regarding his knee. Those are kind of words you don't want to hear in football. If it's a no contact injury, it's already I'm forming the word damn in my head. That's not good.
Because especially he's obviously just recovering from his ACL injury. It's one of those things damn, maybe we should have just not played him this year. You know what I mean? That's what it makes you feel because now pray that he doesn't have another ACL injury or a flare up or something that's going to cause him to lose another year of time where he's going to be behind again. That's just how you create a bust in the NFL draft. That is the pathway to that, unfortunately. So, Chuba Hubbard is going to continue to get a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely.
We talked about Bucky. He's dealing with a back injury. Hopefully that's not too significant, but obviously Rachaad White would see the benefit there. Garendo's the one that really, really hurts too because people blew the fab. They blew the fab for this, man, this week. And I at my direction, I told a lot of people to do that. I said, if you are really solidly in the playoffs, I'd probably be around 50%, which is really high. But if you need to get in, you go get them. Go get him. If it's up to 100%, go get your 100%. Do what you got to do. And if this man is out for any sort of extended period of time, that would really hurt, man, because he balled out 2 touchdowns like we saw before, over 20, I think 26 points Hopefully there's no issue there, but if so, I do think that the person you're going to have to pick up will be Patrick Taylor, who ended up. He's this guy. If you're not familiar, this is Patrick Taylor on the right bottom side of the screen. Yeah, he's pointing at him. He scored a touchdown, not super efficient. He was getting the third down work anyway, which is nice. But like somebody already said, Keyshawn Vaughn is gonna probably factor in. I think they signed some other guy. I don't even remember. They signed two veteran running backs this past week, and they're probably going to sign another one. So I think Patrick Taylor will be the one to own. I'm just not going to get excited about Keyshawn Vaughn, who was sitting on the couch last week. You know what I mean? So that would be my main. That would be my main backup to Guerrero. But Isaiah Davis is interesting. You see him here. He just looks like he looks more to me directly like, oh, this is the Brees of the offense. Like, this is the pass-catching weapon here. This is the guy who's more of a fluid weapon versus, like, a downhill, like, hammer, like a Braylon Allen. And the fact that they were pretty much – I don't know what the snap split was, but pretty much splitting the touches down the middle says that there's some value to be had here. At least pick them up, especially if they're going to be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars next week. We have Sincere McCormick, who, again, played really well against the Buccaneers. Not a big pass catcher, but he got more targets than Abdullah did. Which says a lot. And I do think that the coaching staff, they just like him a ton. So I think he's going to get all the opportunities to succeed. He's probably the safest bet to continue to get more touches. And Adam Thielen should not be available in any leagues, but if he is, he would be my number one pickup if he happens to be out there. But again, he should be available absolutely nowhere because he went for 100 yards against a really, 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 really difficult matchup, and he gets to play the Cowboys next week. So yeah, I'm gonna take that all day.
And he's the pass-catching wide receiver of our wide receiver core.
As opposed to the non-pass catching?
The cardio guys, led by Xavier Legette. They go out there, they go ahead, they run it up. That boy do a decoy like no other, but don't give him no targets. Can't catch the ball, don't give him no targets.
He cannot catch the ball, bro. All right, man. Well, that's the end of the show, man. I know the game's kicking off. Thanks so much for hopping in here, guys. Make sure you guys, let me put the other graphic up so you guys can see our handles. Yeah, so make sure you guys check us out on TikTok. Putting out a lot of content there every day. Putting out game predictions, putting out game picks, stuff like that. Giving out props, stuff like that too. Start sits, the whole Monty. Make sure you guys are tapped in to Player Profiler on TikTok as well as both of our handles. Obviously, you're watching us on YouTube or Twitter. Make sure you guys are locked in here because there's way more people outside of us. There's way more rankings, way more analysis outside of us on this channel. There's no other channel like this where you get so much content on a daily basis. There's literally another show going on right now. So, make sure you guys are tapped in because we will overload you with the content that you need to be able to take home those championships now that we're finally into, the really – really important, make our money time. Let's make this cash. Okay. Yeah. So if you're a serious fantasy player, lock in right now. Make sure you give us a follow on TikTok. Make sure you guys give us a follow here at Player Profiler. All right. With that being said, good luck tonight, guys. I think that the Chiefs win the game, like I said before, and I think that the Bengals win the Homer Simpson game. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely think Chiefs tonight because who is going to be leading the Chargers offense, and I'm certainly going to go with the Bengals as well.
All right. That'll do it. We'll see y'all next week. Peace out.
Peace. Catch the ball, Xavier.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.